go through this sentence or word. So come on screen. Come on screen. Never mind. Well, you probably can't see because it won't clear up, but words have power, to quote the phrase, so there we go. Words have power. So in the get those little red circles on the YouTube screen on my laptop. So again, not every single normal person, I'm just saying. I'm describing the normal culture as that a lot. Well, so what seems to have happened, this isn't probably good. See, I never imagined myself as this. And I still don't, I'm non-position, or third party. If there's again, in the normal hierarchy, there's the leader and a follower. I'm non-position, I do my own thing, but they like to force you into a box, If you put a gun to my head, I'd have to be the leader because I can't be told what to do, so. But again, I'm non-position, I don't fit into their normal people hierarchy, but so yeah, that's not good. I didn't know I had any of that at all, really. I don't know. It's just experiences from them from so long, but yeah, it's more the culture. It's not every single normal person. It's the culture, but I think this has happened to me so much in the past. You see, that they'll just spring on you, that for nothing. It apparently nothing, and it can happen in any environment. So it can happen in. It can happen in any environment. It can happen in the bookshop. It can happen anywhere. It can happen walking out and about to the shops. It can happen in any environment. So it's not limited, but it's the common element is the normal culture again. But this seems to come out of nowhere. And again, it made me bitter. And then I don't want to turn everyone against normal people. Honestly, I don't. But just. Oh, I really didn't know I had any of that, but yeah, just what am I going to say? Yeah, it would have helped over the years if they didn't do those things where you'll be fine 1 minute and they'll just have a go at you, and millions of times, it just gets tiring. It gets where you're worn out with it. But it comes from this. So, in the pre-modern brain, I know modern civilization, but underneath that there's this, underlying, very old human psychology, which is what a lot of people, especially normal culture, operates on. So it's operating on those three things, that one, and then fear of the unknown, and also, so in their mind, again, this is all subconscious, they're not planning this out, thinking it, it's all subconsciously happening. In their mind, because you're, whatever you are, ND, you're, again, in the caveman brain, in the normal people caveman brain, you're from an enemy clan, it's the cave days, and you've got different, groups, and you're from one, over the hill, some strange, unknown, tribe or clan that they don't know about, and you could attack them, or you could steal, or you could have, disease and spread them, whatever it is. It comes from this, from the pre-modern brain and the fear of the unknown. And again, none of this is, they're not consciously aware of this. It's all happening in the subconscious level. So that's where that comes from. They feel that energetic, the energetic level is different than a normal people energy, and so it just goes on to this, but it comes really from an internal insecurity. It's not a you've done. It's this fear of the unknown. A lot of it's fear of the unknown, and then they just, because you look, they might mistake you for another. They see on the external you might look normal, wear regular clothes, but they know that energetic level is completely different to normal people energy, and so they have to go on the attack, because again, you're from, in the caveman brain, you're from an enemy clan that's unknown, could be attacking and could be doing anything. Because also, what's very interesting in normal culture is everyone's in a gang. They can't imagine that anyone would do their own thing, have their own mind or have their own thoughts. Everyone has to be in a gang, a group mentality, a gang mentality. No one could ever think for themselves. Also, I'm not a radical individualist. There is healthy groupism and there's unhealthy groupism. The unhealthy one is when people just blindly sheep copy and don't know what they're doing and end up hurting everything. That's the negative. The good side is tradition, community, pulling together, all that stuff, and not being selfish and not being capitalistic. So they're the good things about group. You need a healthy middle ground. So no, I'm not a radical individualist, but neither am I a extreme collectivist either. A healthy middle ground. But yeah, in their mind, you're a groupist, a collectivist, and from an enemy thing. This is all they're projecting normal culture onto you, basically, because they don't have a sense of ND. It doesn't exist. So again, in a weird way, it's almost like you're a badly behaved normal person, not an ND person, a badly behaved normal person, instead of just being a regular and just an ND person going about your business. So they project their culture onto you, basically. So it would help if they didn't do that. Whether they'll ever stop that, I don't know. They do it much rarely now, but they still do it sometimes. But yeah, it comes from all that. It would help if, again, it would help me not to use that word if they would not do that all the time. But never mind, whatever. It is what it is. It's again, it's not coming from, they're planning some evil manifesto and they're just trying to attack, ND people. It's more from the fear of the unknown and the subconscious level. If that helps, it probably doesn't, but yeah. So it's 80% to 90%. It's not deliberate. It's just autopilot with them. But yeah, I have to, I guess, be careful. Don't go on just hate on all people for no reason. It's just a lot of bitter experiences and a lot of this thing that they keep doing. So, anyway. Yeah, just don't hate on normal people for no reason. But yeah. I think I should remove my comment, actually, to be honest. No, they're just when you're in it, if they consider you one of their group, they're really good. As I say, in the pub, they'll buy you a drink and they'll be the friendliest people in the world. But if they consider you in this top category on this one, then you've had it. You've really had it. They're not going to be very nice. So I don't really know what to say there. Yeah. Completely different brain structure, I would say. Completely different brain structure, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing variety is the spice of life, as they say. So very good to have different, but extremely different brain structures you can see to like an autistic or an ND. And projections again, and I think the projections come simply because they just don't have experience of different minded people. They only really know normal culture, so they really only have that to base things on. So it's more of a problem of ignorance than evil. Not again when they do the RVA. I'm not defending it. It's horrible to be on the receiving end of, but again, it comes from more of a thing of like lack of education than actually being evil. A lot of the time, I'm not saying there are some people who just d-head, just want to be d-head, but for the 80 to 90% of the time, it's more ignorance and fear of the unknown. That just, it's a very fearful culture. So it's more to do with that, and so I don't know. We'll work through it. We'll just keep working and keep positive. But so yeah, don't hate for no reason. Just as I say, it's just lots of bitter experiences. It's my own internal sort of frustration, but I know a lot of other people have faced it with the normal culture too. I know it's not just me, but again, it comes from a place of fear of the unknown and of ignorance rather than malevolence, like the vast majority of the time. So yeah, just I take it back, and I'll try and delete the comment. But yeah, just do you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this, but probably learn normal language, because they're 99% of the population, or something like that, or 98%. It's extremely high, and ND is like a tiny percentage compared to them. So they're basically almost 100%. So they control a lot of stuff, like with the social communication, even though it's completely inefficient and illogical and etc. So yeah, I resisted it for a very long time, but you probably have to learn normal language. I don't see any way around it. The other thing is that they think you're saying things you're not saying. So you might call this a pencil, because of logic. But in their culture, it's not like logic isn't the goal. Actually, logic's to be avoided at all costs. And again, it's not because they're evil. It's just because it's entirely different brain structure. So the pencil, but in their culture, it's almost metaphorical. It's almost like their culture it uses metaphor a lot. So it's like, again, for an autistic person, this is a pencil, but for their culture, it might be an alligator or a Canada goose. There you go. But the thing is, the point of it isn't the logic. It's nothing to do. It's again, the brain structure is completely different. So again, the three holy grails of normal culture is narrative, emotion, and fashionability or popularity. The three commandments of normal culture. So for whatever reason, you have to change your entire mental attitude position otherwise, and realise so that they're not thinking of, like, they don't even care. Like, you could say, well, logically this is a pencil. It's like they don't actually care at all, or even possibly register. I'm not even sure, because I know they don't register details very well. Again, it's not because anyone's being bad or naughty. It's just the way the brain structure is formed. So yeah, the whole point I think in their culture is probably, I don't know, maybe it's small talkers, maybe to strike up a conversation. So they might say pencil as an excuse to do small talk. Everything's based on indirection, non-direct approach, and beating around the bush, and it's very feminine language, and especially the guys do it. And the normal NT guys are the hardest to understand because you can understand women doing it, because of evolution or whatever. It's very hard to understand that guys have these very feminine behaviours, very strange. But again, in the normal culture, that is the way it is. So I suppose it's non-literal, extreme non-literal, and extreme metaphorical. And the point is not the thing itself. There's always a bracket. So it's like a boat to cross the river. They're using it as a excuse to do something else. There's always a hidden agenda. There's the word. There's always a bracket. I call them brackets. So they'll say something, but the bracket means something else. There's always a hidden subtext. There's always something to get to something else. It's like a chess. It's almost like a chess with their culture. It's a thinking one ahead. All this. There's always how do I. And again, it might be this normal people hierarchy thing that you go on about, but it could be. I don't know. I don't know what it is. They're always trying to get one over on each other and whatever, and it's a bit, again, it's pretty Machiavellian. I'll be honest with you, but it's pretty childish as well. But again, whatever. It's just the way their brain structures form. But it doesn't seem like a very healthy culture. But what can you do? I don't know. So yeah, there's brackets. I think the whole point of their language is non-direct, indirect, and brackets to like a magician or an illusionist, to say one thing but mean something else. So yeah, it's a weird language for sure. But yeah. I think it would make it easier on themselves if they just called the thing a pencil or a thing, but that with social language, I hate to use the word lazy, but I can't think of another word. That's the only word I can think of. If someone else can think of a more positive sounding word, then you're welcome. That's the only word I can think of. That with the social language, they are quite lazy. They refuse to speak. Outside of their language, even the tiniest bit, even though it's completely inefficient. It requires 10 times more energy than to just call the thing exactly what it is. And yet for them to be direct is actually painful. I've watched it. They actually find it almost painful to just call it what it is. Seems extremely energy inefficient. But then I'm not in normal culture, so I don't know. It's a lot of it's guesswork in it, but that seems to be it, is to be sneaky so that you can, I don't really know, get one over on each other. Again, it seems like really mentally disturbed behaviour, but I don't know. It's their culture, not mine. I don't know, but I don't know. It just seems like they're wasted. It seems like driving the longest possible route to somewhere when you could just take the shortcut, But they insist on going the longest possible route, wasting all the fuel. It seems very strange behaviour. But again, I'm not in the culture. I don't know. It's just what I observed from the outside. As only I could do from being socially exiled. I could only really observe from the outside. But yeah, just don't. I'll just write it down. Just don't hate on normal people for nothing. Just don't. I don't know. How can I say this? Don't. I don't know. I think you have to take intent into account. There's the word. And again, because 80 to 90% is autopilot, and it's not nice again receiving it when they just verbally have a go at you or nothing. And I don't know the answer. It would help bridge the gap a lot if they would stop doing that. That's, I think, one of their worst traits. But again, I know it comes from fear of the unknown, but it really pees me off big time. So it would really help if they didn't do that. It's just extremely different brain structure. Yeah, it's apples and oranges, as they say. Yeah, so I don't really know what to say about that one. But yeah, just try and take intent. So I would say the solution to this one is take intent into account. Did they actually mean to be a total what's the name? And if they did, then okay, you can be annoyed at them. But if they didn't mean it, then you've got to look at it a different way. Again, this takes time. It took me an insanely long time. But you've got to take intent into account. Otherwise, yeah, you just kind of have to. Did they mean it or not? So, yeah, that's all I have to say on that, really. Is just take it into account whether there was any malicious intent, and if there wasn't, then don't don't blow it out of proportion. Yeah. I think that's it.